Good morning, guys. Welcome to my channel. I hope you guys are having a wonderful end of your week. Um, well, yeah. Um, there's some things I wanted to share with you. So this morning, I was going through the book of Judges, and I was in Judges chapter 17, and it was talking about Micah. It was a man named Micah, and what he had done is he received a certain amount of money from his mother, and he used those coins, a certain amount of silver that he had, silver coins, silver shekels, they call them. And what he did, he had a graven image made because after the death of Samson, who was the last judge during those days, there were no there was no judge. So people were just doing whatever they wanted to do. So what he did, he created a he created a he made an ephod, which would have been a garment that the priests wore to over their clothing as they were in the temple of God. So he pretty much emulated some things, right, that the priests and the Levites would use. And he created these graven images and had them in his home. Now, during this time, there was a Levite that was sojourning in the land. He came, turned in, or met with Micah, and Micah offered him some things and said, listen, I'll give you 10, let's see, I don't want to mess it up. He gave him 10 shekels of silver. He offered him 10 shekels of silver per year, a suit of apparel, and victuals, which meaning he'll provide all his food and drink and things like that, and clothing and money. And this Levite, okay, which knows better, um, he was content to dwell with Micah and his gods and be consecrated by Micah and become a priest. Okay, so we know that back in the days, the children of Israel, God through Moses had appointed Levites and priests to work in his temple. And what they did is, the priests were the ones that went in and performed all the sacrifices and things like that was necessary before the Lord. The Levites also assisted with the maintenance of the the temple, but they were the ones that were called out. They were of Levi. He was one of the 12 sons of Jacob, and so the Levites were the descendants of Levi, son of Jacob, and they were used to do the holy things of God and worked in the temple. So here we find that Micah, who makes these gods, set up these idols in his house, now meets a Levite, right? And he tells the Levites, hey, why don't you come in and serve my house? Let me consecrate you as a priest, and you can, I'll pay you, I'll take care of you. Just come in, and I want you to be a priest in my home. So he agrees to it, right? And in Judges 7, in the book of Judges, chapter 17, verse 13, Micah says this: now I know that the Lord will do me good, seeing I have a Levite to my priest. And what the Lord showed me with that is, he says this: many are misled by the compromises of those who claim to be followers of Christ. They have been bought, selling their birthright for a piece of bread as Esau. So they, meaning Christians today, followers of God, many people that we see that saying they're representing God and they are in these high positions, because being a priest of God was a huge deal. You were selected, you were set apart, you were consecrated, right? So even Micah, in his darkness, serving his gods, doing whatever he wanted to do, he felt even more justified, or that he was doing the right thing, because a Levite who he recognized, set aside, set apart for God, is in agreement with him and has entered his house to be a high priest among the idols, right? So he says, now I know that God will do me good, seeing I have a Levite to my priest. And again, the word of the Lord is, many are misled by the compromises of those who claim to be followers of Christ. They have been bought, okay? Many leaders, many in high positions have been bought, selling their birthright, okay, for a piece of bread as Esau. To satisfy the fleshly desires, they have mixed, to satisfy the fleshly desires, they have mixed the holy things of God with idols. Guys, this is the word of the Lord today. Many are mixing the holy things of God with idols. You know, Micah had created his own little shrine. He took of the silver he got it made into a molten image. He created an ephod. He made an ephod, which was something that the priest of God used back in the days, right? It's an elaborate garment that was worn by the high priest. He made one of those. He also went in and had a house. He had a house of gods, little g, right? And he had a teraphim made. A teraphim were small portable household gods or family gods. All right. That's what he had in his home. And we see here that this young man who was of the descendants of the Levites, okay, one of the 12 sons of Jacob, he knew better. He knew what the laws were. But he's sojourning in a land trying to see where he could stay. And he was willing to dwell in a house of gods and allowed himself, excuse me, allowed himself to be consecrated and to become a high priest in a place with graven images. And guys, this is the position of many today, many leaders that we're seeing. Those who say they are believers, what's going on is many people are being led astray. This young man could have said, no, this is not the way of my people. This is not the way of my God. These are the laws of Moses. We will not serve any graven images. But because he was in a place, he was looking for somewhere to stay, he was willing to compromise because he was offered comfortable things. He was offered food, he was offered clothing, okay, he was going to be taken care of, and he was offered money. And so he compromised. Many people are compromising today, compromising the gospel, mixing the holy things of God with unholy things. And people are looking at these men and women of God, followers of Satan, who are followers of Christ, and saying, well, it can't be that bad. I must be right. Because here is a man of God, a renowned man of God, right? Renowned woman of God. I know this person is a Christian. And if they are agreeing with me, and if they are willing to dwell with me and serve my gods, then I come into the house of my gods and my idols, then I can't be doing too bad. Got to be doing the right things. We have to be so careful of the things that we do, the things that we say, how we conduct ourselves. And those who are in high positions, be very careful, because a lot of times people, the unsaved, those who are in the dark, are being misled because they see people who are saying they're children of God mixing what is holy with what is unholy. And they're simply going, well, it must be right if they're doing it. Time for change, guys. This is the word that I need to share today.